I'm Gardiner Bryant, and it's time for a friendly game of Sportsball. I'll walk you through the basics so you'll be ready to take on your friends and compete against the AI in Dudelings Arcade Sportsball, available now on Steam and itch.io. Let's start with how to score. In a game of Dudelings, you want to control the ball and score points. How you score points depends on the game mode. The first game mode is Classic, where you've got to get the ball into your opponent's goal. The next game mode is Hoop, where your target is to get the ball through the hoop in the middle of the field. And finally, there's Volley, where you need to get the ball off your opponent's side of the screen. But the question is, how do you manipulate the ball? Use left and right on your controller, or A and D on a keyboard, to cycle through which doodling you're controlling. Your currently selected doodling is indicated by the color of their jersey. Home team is blue, and away team is red. Pressing the left and right button will move to the next available doodling. If there's an opponent occupying the next doodling, your selection will leapfrog them. Skilled players can use this technique to their advantage, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Pressing left or right is good, but holding is even better, as you'll automatically cycle through the available doodlings in that direction. Now that we've chosen a doodling, pressing A or cross on a controller or space on a keyboard will make him jump. A short press will cause a short hop, and longer presses will cause higher jumps. Now that we know the basics of competition, let's talk strategy. Highlight a doodling under the ball and then press the jump button. When he connects with the ball, he'll try to take a shot at the goal. He'll automatically aim and throw, but only if there's a clear shot. Otherwise, the ball will just bounce off of him. So let's say that you're playing as the home team on classic mode. Hitting the ball with the right side of a doodling will cause him to throw it at the away team's goal. But if the ball hits your doodling on the left side, it'll just bounce off of him. Now you might have noticed that whenever your doodling touches a ball, it'll change to your color. This indicates that it's in your possession. By default, there are no own goals in doodlings, so a blue ball can't enter the home team's goal, for example. Also by default, match points are set to 10, so the first team to score 10 points is awarded a trophy. So those are the basics. Move, jump, and shoot. It's pretty simple. Except that there are a few wrinkles that are sure to spice up the competition. First, let's talk about snapping. You can snap your control to either goalie using the left and right triggers on your controller, or Q and E on the keyboard. Snapping is critical to making clutch saves and controlling the right doodling in the nick of time. Next is the dash. Press B or circle or shift on your keyboard to launch your doodling into the air with reckless abandon. If your dash connects with the ball, your doodling will send it flying. And yes, while dashing, he will take a shot at the opponent's goal. This is a great way to sneak the ball past a stubborn defense. However, using the dash ability will consume stamina. You might have noticed these lights at the top of the screen. This is your stamina indicator. Each player has a max of 3 stamina, which will slowly recharge over time. Dashing will use 2 stamina points, so it's good to only dash when necessary, as stamina is per player and not per doodling. But there's one more action we should talk about, and it consumes stamina as well. Punching. Throwing a punch uses 1 stamina point. Use the left and right bumpers on your controller, or J and L on your keyboard, to punch your adjacent doodlings. Punching a doodling will knock him out, which is indicated by this little stun crown over his head. Unconscious doodlings cannot be used until they recover. You can knock out neutral doodlings and take them out of play for a moment, but if the doodling you're controlling gets punched, you're going to be stuck in place until his expression returns to normal. So to recap, stunned doodlings can't be used to jump, dash, punch, or snap, and if you're the one that got punched, you can't move either. And watch out, because some players hold a grudge. Keep in mind that while knocked out doodlings cannot be controlled, it is possible to select one, so it's important to be aware of their status while you're moving around. Alright, let's talk about some of the advanced techniques in doodlings. And there are a few. Pressing and holding left or right will automatically cycle to the next doodling until you release the button. But it can be faster in short bursts to repeatedly press the directional button, especially when you consider that there's a short delay before auto-cycling actually starts. Another important technique is leapfrogging. When you and your opponent are right next to each other, you can move towards them to jump over their doodling. Then they can do the same thing to you. You can repeat this action to move rapidly across the arena. However, keep in mind that you're vulnerable to getting knocked out while you're adjacent to your opponent. Risk versus reward, I guess. But there's even more to learn when it comes to the strategy in Dudelings, so let us know your discoveries on the Heavy Element forum. As we touched on earlier, there are 3 game modes to choose from, but there are also many rules that you can change to add some variety. For example, there are multiple ball types, like the beach ball, bowling ball, and the balloon. Each one has their own unique physics. Then there are pickups. At launch, there are 5 to choose from. Extra balls, which add an additional ball to the playfield. Random ball, which will change the ball type. Shrink, which will reduce the size of the ball. And grow, which increases the size of the ball. Plus, there's a mystery pickup, which will trigger one of the other 4 options. You can toggle individual power-ups from spawning, disable pickups entirely. You can also adjust the match point, the default ball type, the Dudelings jerseys, and more. One of my favorite match setups has to be what I call Helium Chaos, where you set the ball to balloon, size to random, the minimum balls to 10, and then duke it out with your opponent in a chaotic balloon free-for-all. There are tons of possible rule set combinations that you can mess with, so let us know your favorite on the forum. We are so excited for you to get your hands on Dudelings. It's available now on Steam and itch.io. We also want to hear from you. See, we have a lot of ideas on where we'd like to take Dudelings. We have outlines for new features, we have new game modes in mind, as well as new pickups, game balls, arenas, cosmetic items, and more. We'd love to hear your thoughts on our game, any improvements we can make, so join us on our forum, forum.heavyelement.io. We're also monitoring the Steam and itch forums as well. Dudelings Arcade Sportsball is the culmination of years of work. We've been developing our skills and pouring ourselves into game development since 2020, and we're so proud of this game. Despite its surface-level simplicity, there is depth and complexity and a skill ceiling that we're confident will find an audience. We truly hope you enjoy Dudelings, and it's available now. It would be pretty funny, I think. Asymmetrical.
That was a really good match.
Yeah, it was.
That was
close.
9 to 10.
It was touch and go.
For a bit, but
Yeah.
you know.